Hi everybody, myself is SM Pujar, working as Chief Librarian at Indira Gandhi Institute of Development Research, Mumbai. I am going to speak on open data in social sciences. As all of you know that open science, wherein that open access to resources has very much there in the scholarly publication. Similarly, now the data, statistical data, what is being used is also made available openly in across the disciplines, including social sciences. Here, I'm going to talk more of open data in social sciences, especially what are the kind of data is available and what would be the role of libraries in promoting this open data and creating awareness and make it usable in the field of social science. That's I'm going to highlight on that. My presentation, I'll be talking about what is open data and what is the background, why it is needed in order to make it accessible to the users, and what are the different open data sources available in the field of social sciences, and what would be the role of libraries in providing access to the open data. And just I'll conclude my talk. So you know that today in this digital era, data is considered as a gold. Because why it is considered as a gold? Because everything and every action of any organization or a government is depending a lot on the data. You might have heard the big data analytics, wherein that companies like Google, Facebook, they are using all of our data, whether with permission or without our permission, and making use of it in order to expand their businesses and in order to share the data to the other companies, so to make the targeted advertisements, and that way they are making huge profits out of the data by providing some of the free services like a Google search engine or the Facebook, wherein we create all our profiles over there. Similarly, like organizations like a private or a public organization, even the governments are drawing their policies based on the various kinds of data what they are collecting, whether social or economic data. Even nowadays, the lot of data government collects through the social media also, wherein that they are trying to do the targeted kind of promotion of the various government schemes to the region specific users. So that is also being undertaken. That I appreciate the present government of India, wherein that they are trying to use the data, what they are trying to collect it from the users and try to make their schemes or the government scheme what they are trying to bring out for the public. Similarly, researchers are using the data to suggest suitable measures to overcome social, scientific, and economic problems. There could be a problem where that, for example, there is a rain deficiency in a particular area, or there are floods in particular area. The researchers are collecting that data and trying to address why this kind of situation we are trying to face in, how to overcome that problem. So researchers, individual researchers like you and me, so they're trying to do a lot of research by using this open data, using the statistical data. But one thing is that data until recently was not available openly, whereas it used to be available where in a kind of a printed format, or mostly the libraries, we in the library used to buy the data or used to procure the data, whether it is in the earlier in print format, later on digital format in CD-ROMs and all, later on after the internet, emergent entries started available on the internet, but through subscriptions mostly. But now the concept of open data has gained momentum, resulting in the wide availability of open data sources. Whether it is the sciences, social sciences, or humanities, a lot of data is being made available, which is really helping the researchers in order to work on the various research topics. But there is one problem is there where there is a dire need to create awareness and teach methods to use this data. Because the problem is that the data is available, but many of the researchers, especially in the field of social sciences, they are not aware of the data and how to make use of data. They are not aware of it. So, wherein that we, as a role of a librarians or a libraries, have a greater role in the promotion of use of this open data. So, we have a greater role to play. That anyway, when I come to the role of libraries, I'll talk in depth about that. So after all, what is open data? Okay, open data is the one which is available for access, use, and share. Okay, it should be available, and it depends on what? It depends on its availability and access over the internet, and it should be downloadable and should be in a usable format. Secondly, its availability for reuse and redistribution. It should be the policy should be very clear. The data, what is made available as open data, can be reused. It can be redistributed. Then the third thing is its encouragement for universal participation. Everyone should be able to use the data. It is not that there should not be any bias. So, okay, this data which is available need to be used by only the particular people of the particular region. It should not be. Once it is made available, so it should be accessible to everyone irrespective of caste, cadre, or region specific kind of a thing. And the other thing is that it should also be the one which adheres to the FAIR principles of access to scientific data, which stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. So the data what is made available as open data should be easily findable, it should be easily accessible, and it should be easily interoperable from one system to another system, and it should be reusable. Just to put it in a diagrammatic chart, so the open data is the one which should be available. Availability should be in a convenient and modifiable format. It should be available in a reusable format, which means the data must be machine readable and provided under terms that permit reuse. And interoperability means to promote data sharing and adoption via standards, various data standards. Then the universal participation, no restriction on the repurposing of data or who can use the data. That's what the open data stands for. So open data, why the open data concept came into the picture is that it aims to bring the transparency to the governance. For example, government wants to provide the governance, which is in very clear-cut manner what I am trying to do. So in order to have a transparency in governance and the research, for example, I am doing a research on a particular thing. If I made available my lab reports, or if I made available my data which I have collected, then what happens? Whatever data I use, it use a very clear-cut, transparent picture, because all of the data what we use in our research paper or the government is trying to bring out in their policies will not be there. So if this data help you leading to open government and open science. So there is really kind of a very good intention the open data is having, but there are gaps exist in making the data available, as some get scared to share data to the public. Fearing, for example, as a researcher individual, if you think that I may fear of misuse of my data, I have put in a lot of efforts to collect data. If I made it public, it may misuse. Similarly, the failure of governance may deter government from disclosing the data. For example, recent story you might have heard of Government of India GDP data basically. So government talking about the growth of GDP data, but economists and social scientists are arguing that the data which is being made available is not the method on which it is being developed is not the correct way of projecting the economic growth of the country. So anyway, those kind of controversies do exist, but we don't know unless the kind of because of these kind of problems, the government or the individuals researchers fear to make the data public. So even if the data is available, for example, there's a lot of data available in printed format, or even there is a data available many times the government releases data in a PDF format. So because of its format and the usability becomes very difficult. So that it makes it very difficult to use, or data becomes unusable. Even the other problem what is being faced is open data ecosystem across the regions, across the governments is not yet evolved. It's still evolving, thus limiting the universal availability of data. For example, particular country data may not be available, particular state data may not be available because of the not every government is following or developing, trying to develop open data ecosystem so that universal availability data can be possible. Then the other problem, what is having a problem with the open data, as I mentioned to you earlier, awareness about the availability and usage are areas of concern. So wherein that support units like libraries, wherein that we can collaborate with government and university departments in making data, whether it's government data or it's a research data, available in machine readable format, so that from one system to other system can be easily taken and manipulated and analyze it and come out with the results for a literal use. So it's wherein that this becomes a very, very important thing. So there are a lot of, because of the efforts of the government, because of the efforts of the international organization and national organizations and the ministries, a lot of open data is available. A lot of open data sources are available in the field of social sciences at an international level, national level, and at the government level, for example. There are data repositories of various governments, like say, for example, best example to quote is our own Government of India data portal, wherein that data of various ministries or various departments, various schemes, all of it being made available through data.gov.in. Similarly, if you want to get a data about UK government, then if you go to data.gov.uk, then you will be able to get government data, what is being produced by different ministries or the departments. That data you will be able to easily accessible in a reusable format. Similarly, there are data repositories which are available at international organization level, like one is the ADB, like Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, United Nations. All of this data was earlier used to be available only on the subscription. Whereas now, most of the data produced by these international made available as open data. They are repositories which have been established, wherein not only users can access the data through the retrieval mechanism, what is being provided on the website, or they can also use the open APIs, wherein application program interfaces, in order to download the data, required data in the format what they wanted to download. Okay. Similarly, there are data repositories at national level, that like ICSR data repository, which is a collaboration between Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, MOSPI, Government of India, ICSR, and Infonet. Wherein this repository has been developed, wherein most of the data which is produced by Ministry of Statistics and Program is made available on this data repository. And there is one more, which is at national level in India level, is a Lokdaba. It's a database which has been made available by Ashoka University, wherein that electoral data, you want to collect any elections data which is happened over last 2-3 elections, which you will be able to get for the Lok Sabha as well as the state assemblies, you will be able to get access to the data. Apart from open data reports which are available at a government level, at an international organization, at a national level, there are open data repositories for researchers and organizations around, wherein that mostly you will get a research data, not the government data. Like Figshare, there's one of the very good service which is available, where you as an individual researcher, you can host your data and you can access the data and you can get additional citation for your data. Similarly, organizations or the publishers, you want to host the data, even they can take a participation. Similarly, Harvard University has developed a Harvard Dataverse. Dataverse is a software which is developed by Harvard that can also be used to host your individual data. Okay, or if your research has evolved in, you believe in the educational institution which is developed this data tool, wherein you can host your data and make it available, and you as an organization also can take a participation over there. Similarly, there are open data discovery tools. See, as and when the number of data repositories are increasing and number of data, open data is available more and more, there are open data discovery tools have come. One is the Google public data, wherein that most of the international organization data can be accessed from there. Then there is a Google data search tool is available, wherein that you can just enter any keywords. Then you will be able to get the different data which is available on the internet. But sometimes this tool is tricky, because sometimes it also throws the commercial data which is available on the internet. That one has to assess and use it. And then there is a there is a research open like a directory of open access repositories. Similarly, there is a RE3 data, which is this is a kind of a directory which lists different data repositories available all over the world. They are all research data repositories which are available all over the world. Just to showcase that how the open data, government data, for example, government portal, just to showcase that how it looks like, that if you go to data.gov.in, so you can find the different data, you can search it or you can navigate it by going through individual ministries also. Similarly, World Bank data, you can go here, see, you can get access to the data directly from the portal, or you can use the open APIs to extract the data. There's a help available using the tutorials. One can definitely download the data. Similarly, ICSR data portal is there, wherein that data, as I mentioned to earlier, this is the Ministry of Statistics Program Implementation. Sorry. So wherein that data about the debt, investment, domestic tourism, education data set, enterprise survey, employment, unemployment, is most of the like national sample survey data, which is available in text format, is been made available. One of the beauty of this portal is they have provided the tutorials, guidebooks, and how you can use the R package to extract data, how you can use SPSS to use the data. Really, really very important data source at the national level, which can be used by the researchers. This is a screenshot of the Figshare. So here one can create an account, sign up, and start contributing the data. Similarly, you as a researcher can similarly access the data of other researchers, what is being available over there. This is a Google data search tool, where that one can enter, say for example, I enter foreign direct investment in India. So it will provide me what are the different data sets which are available. But only the caution is here, sometimes the data what you get may not be open data, it may be sometimes commercial data. So depending upon the kind of data it is providing results, you just see whether it is open data. So whether you can reuse it or redistribute it, because licenses will be defined there accordingly. You can use of data, whatever results you are going to get it from it. So coming to the, after talking about the different kind of data sources, social science, what would be the role of libraries in providing open access. As you know that libraries, in the libraries, we procure data, we procure the resources, we procure reading materials, and in order to make the better utilization of those resources, we provide the training. We know that how to promote them and how to organize them, how to make better utilization of the resources by our users, whether it is a print information or whether it is a digital information. Similarly, in case of open data, one of the most important thing for libraries to follow is the training and advocacy. So we need to organize that orientation programs and training programs regarding the making our users aware of the different open data sources in the whichever field we are working in. Here we are talking about social science data sources. So, so tell them, okay, these are the kind of sources available, what kind of data you can get in, from which year to which year data is available. So you need to educate the users regarding the data which is available, and also you need to, the one more step, you need to go ahead and tell about how you can retrieve the data from the open data portals like IMF, World Bank, United Nations. Because what happens earlier, what we used to tell, okay, this is a source where you can get the data. But now the thing is, you need to take, if you want to work in a social science library, you need to go a step further in telling the users that how one can retrieve data from a particular database. So in that sense, that you need to learn about the database, you need to know that what kind of data, how we can retrieve the data, and then you need to impart the training. So wherein your role comes. Even you can educate the users in the usage of the tools or the packages such as R, SPSS, SAS, and Stata. For not only that, if you yourself can get educated about these packages, or you can use the tutorials to teach, or you can call the experts. Maybe one of your faculty member may be expert in that. You can organize the on behalf of library. You can organize a orientation program on these packages, and also a particular kind of data how one can extract using Open API, or there is a data which is available in text format, how it can be used in order to extract the data. And the other thing, what we can as a library, as a part of training advocacy, we can do is that we can develop the tutorials for self-learning. Because what happens, every time it will not be possible to provide training, and every time it will not possible for users to take part in the training program organized by us. So one way is of making available the training material is record the video and make it available on your website or on the YouTube channel. And also, if you develop the tutorials for self-learning, it's going to be very useful. This is one of the important role libraries can provide in making open access data accessible and usable. Second thing is that development of skill sets. See, we as a librarians, we keep learning latest ICT software or packages, which in order to promote, in order to make accessible our resources to our users 24 into 7, 365 days in a year. So here, in case of open data also, we need to understand the data, in what kind of structure the data is being made available, and what format the data is available. And then we need to find out what are the different tools are used for data extraction. Is there a ready-made tool available, or one has to write a program, or one has to develop a software in order to extract the data, for in order to get the access data using open APIs provided by the service providers, or how to learn how to scrap the data. Because what happens, data which is available in PDF format in many times is not usable, unless of course there are some software or from OCR scanning you can try to do that, but it will not be 100%. In that case, if you know certain program like Python and all, no, then what happens, it becomes very easy to scrap the data. So by giving the column length, width, and all, so then you will be able to get the extract the data and put it in a reusable format. Like if you put it to the data into Excel format, so that your researchers can, if you learn it, then you will be able to provide a training to your users, so how they can use the data which is available in a portable document format. And also, we as a libraries, already we have developed digital libraries. We know that what is Dublin Core Metadata Initiative, what is resource description framework, schema, and all. So we have studied to some extent when using the developing digital libraries and all. So this is also very important, because here also, in case of open data, we need to describe each of the data sets what we are storing in our libraries. So because unless it is retrievable, so users will not be able to get access to the data. So for example, if you are downloading some data and trying to make it available through your portal, so then if you describe it properly, then your users will be get access to that. Say for example, if you are trying to use the DSpace software, so definitely Dublin Core by default it comes in, then you need to have a better understanding of these data description framework, so that it will be able to describe and organize these data properly. So, and the thing is, you need to also develop the skills to manage a research data repository. because nowadays if you are working in academic or research oriented libraries, so if it is better that if you develop a skills in using a packages which are such as Dataverse, which is Harvard open source package available. Similarly, CCAN, which is used by government of India. These kind of data packages, if you learn, if you develop your skills on that, then in collaboration with your computer staff, you can manage a data repository at your institution level. Even that is quite very much possible. And also the other thing what one can do is that assess the usefulness of open data report. Like I quoted about the Figshare or about the Harvard Dataverse, wherein that you can study those kind of open data repositories, wherein that how it is going to benefit our organization. So in that you can suggest your management for hosting the institute research data, how safe it is, and so that the your researchers are going to get more and more citations. Your institution's name will be known to the entire world, wherein that your data is being made available through such repositories. And the other one is the data curation and preservation. We as a librarians, we know that how to preserve the what are the resources we acquire in the library. Similarly, in case of open data, the one thing is the one problem with open data is many times the data what is available on a particular government website or some organization website, immediately they withdraw it because of some reason, unknown reasons. Maybe because they think that data what is being made available may be misused or because of various reasons. In that case, so much of the open data which is available openly needs to be downloaded and along with associated documentation and preserve it in for future use. This how you can do that. You can download, and you know that you already know how to develop digital library, how to use a digital library, or you can create a e-library using Joomla or a Drupal or WordPress kind of a thing, and or provide only simple HTML links. Say put it in your computer, one of the storage storage server, and provide access to that by providing the links to the data sources. And also not only making that available, enable easier access to data. Whatever you have downloaded, that needs to be accessible to you users. How you can do that? Within and outside the campus by using VPN or related like virtual private network or related off campus access technologies. So then what happens? Whatever you have stored in your digital library will be available to your users as and when they would like to. Here I just given a screenshot of our e-library. Of course, here some of the data is what we have procured, and some of the data is openly available. Everything we have put it at one place so that our users need not have to run around various sources. They can go to e-library at one place. They can get access to data what is being curated, what is being openly available on the internet. So just to conclude, open data has enabled greater access to government and research data across the domains, including social science. Because this has enabled a greater access, that is the reason. So researchers are finding it very easy to use this data for their research. It has made it possible for anyone to check the transparency in research or in the governance. See, otherwise, what happened earlier, we never used to be able to make out how the government has come out with a particular policy, on what basis. Similarly, some scientific research which is undertaken and how the research has arrived at the conclusion, because all of the data, as I mentioned earlier, will not be available or accessible to us unless we make a specific request to the researchers. So this has made it possible that. But only the problem with the open data is that all of it is not yet available in a machine readable or a usable format, reusable format. So it requires conversions using different tools. This is becoming a kind of this is becoming kind of a barrier in making a better use of open data what is available. So here we as a libraries and librarians need to augment the new skills, whatever the skills required in order to make this, to train their users, our users, in the usage of data to sustain ourselves for the future. Otherwise, what happens if we are not evolving ourselves with the kind of material which is available in a different format, in open format. So unless we educate ourselves and make it accessible, so we don't have kind of to sustain because of the changing terms as per the digital era. We need to sustain ourselves. This is very much required. This. Thank you very much.